Check this out. I was looking into. I went and rewatched the Tanuki Project's video that they came out with here like a year or so ago, titled "The Money Snake." And I had been thinking about that for a few days, and I've mentioned it here a few times. I don't think I played it, but I mentioned it a few times. And back when I mentioned it, which was about a year ago, I think, something like that, when I mentioned it, I mentioned that there was no other content that you could find about of the Tanuki Project. And like I said, that's the band that made the music for I Pet Goat 2. And before I go any further, like I've been saying, I understand that it would be ridiculous to talk about a dumb cartoon. But what I've got to show you here is, I'm so glad, I'm so thankful that I did go watch that music video, Money Snake, because I wouldn't have some of what I have to show you. But back then, when they come out with it, there was a few channels, YouTube channels, other people that were, trying to break it down and see if there was anything in it. And it appears to be about Donald Trump, but it's not. It is. I mean, from the first glance, just like everything, you think it's about Donald Trump, but it's not. It's actually about this trap. It's about this snare that's been set. But back then, when I looked at it, and the other people I seen looking at it, they all said the same thing as I did. There was no other music in or any content that you could find made by the Tanuki Project. But I went yesterday and I looked at that Money Snake video again, and I looked to see if they had anything else on there, and there were a few songs on there, and the dates are saying like 11 years ago, 7 years ago, which is crazy because I know that I looked up and down to see if there was anything else made by them guys, and I saw other people saying the same thing. So after I watched that yesterday, I wanted to see what Tanuki means. So I went and looked it up. And look, it's a raccoon dog. Okay? And you might remember here back in 2020 that there was a little bit of a controversy over this raccoon dog from Japan. They when the sniffles came out, they had a few theories where they said that it came from one spot was the wet market, and then other theories was that it came from this raccoon dog. Well, you might be wondering, why would that band name themselves the Tanuki Project? Well, when you see why, you'll understand perfectly why, or you'll see how it all fits into place. So this Tanuki dog, raccoon dog, is regarded as a shapeshifter. And no, it's not really a shapeshifter. It's a dog that is commonly often mistaken for a raccoon. And the raccoon dog, the tanuki, its origin, its land of origin is in Russia somewhere, in near the Caucasus Mountains, or somewhere out in there. And the raccoon, though, who's not related to the raccoon dog in any way, it's a dog, and then I can't remember what they said the raccoon is, but the raccoon's place of origin is North America. Yeah. But they look a lot alike, but they're not. One's a dog and the other one is some other furry brand of creature. So it's just like the I Pet Goat 2 story. And I'm going to play the song, one of the songs that I just found by the Tanuki Project at the end of this, and you'll see exactly why they named their band the Tanuki Project. You'll see why they are the ones that made the music for I Pet Goat 2. It'll all make sense to you when we watch this video. But first, I want to talk about this snare a little bit. I'm sure you see a lot of people, saying things like this, what this Carter Conlon guy is saying, and he's someone I used to watch all the time. And you know what I've been talking about here for a while now. Well, you can see, like, even if I've been saying this for a long time, I could totally see bombs landing, like, on the East Coast and the West Coast, and the people in the Great Plains area will still be talking about things like this lady's talking about. What's this mean for entrepreneurship? They're still gonna concern themselves with the dollar. And you already know how that's going to turn out when the dollar comes to a screeching halt, when all these economies come crashing down. And yeah, you know how that would turn out. But the guy I mentioned here a while back, this prepper guy I watch once in a while, because he's always showing flight radar. He's talking about what's going on over there. And I saw him yesterday. I saw a video. One of his videos came across my feed, and I watched it. And he was showing some flight radar stuff. And then he said, "You Christians, you need to understand that the Bible is playing out right in front of our eyes." He said, Ezekiel 38 is unfolding right before our faces. And what a lot of people don't realize is that they are the moth being drawn to the flame. Let me show you what Ezekiel 38, let's go read Ezekiel 38, excuse me. Now that guy, the prepper guy, he was trying to encourage the Christians to realize that the Bible prophecy is playing out. And he kept saying, he said, that's why you see all the countries surrounding Israel, and pretty soon we'll see Russia and China, which is Gog and Magog. That's what he said. He said that's Gog and Magog. That'll be the Gog and Magog war. And I've heard so many people say the same thing. I've heard preachers, pastors who've went to seminary school say the same exact thing. So let's read it a little bit, and then let's expand a little bit on this trap, shall we? 38, verse 1. And the word of Yahuwah came to me, saying, Son of man, set your face against Gog of the land of Magog. So there's the first problem. And I used to be the same way. I done the same thing. I used to say Gog and Magog all the time. I've said it a bunch until I started to eat the whole lamb, attempt to eat it all, and understand that it's the only source of truth out there. And that I understand that the world, it's driven on what they believe it says, what they think that it says. But in reality, what they think it says, what they'll tell you, what they'll fight and kill people over, it's not what is actually said. Because there's not two. There's not Gog and Magog. There's Gog of the land of Magog. So there's one. And he is the prince of Rosh, Meshech, and Tubal. The Most High said, Son of man, set your face against Gog of the land of Magog, the prince of Rosh, Meshech, and Tubal. Prophesy against him. And you shall say, Thus said the Master Yahuwah, See, I am against you, O Gog, the prince of Rosh, Meshech, and Tubal. And I shall turn you around, and I shall put hooks into your jaws, and shall lead you out with all your army. So it's one prince with all his army, with horses and horsemen, clad perfectly, a great assembly with armor and shields, all of them handling swords. Now, when I was, a lot of times in the past when I read this, my whole life, when I would see this and I saw that it's pertaining to the latter days, the latter years, the end times, I knew that, and when I would see it said that his army had horses and horsemen, and I would say, I always thought to myself, like, well, and I had people, I've talked about this. I always wondered, like, why, if this is for the latter times, like, where's the tanks and the trucks? Why is he saying horses and horsemen? And then there was times where I said, well, that's just because that's all Ezekiel. Like, Ezekiel saw a truck, a Humvee, and he just wrote down horses. That's what I concluded. That was before I started to eat this word the way I see now I was supposed to. Because what we've learned, what he means by horses and horsemen. And it's, if you go down here, verse 5, it says, Persia, Cush, and Put are with them, all of them with shield and helmet. I guess I used to think that the Most High was just an idiot, I guess, and he didn't know how to write the word down. Or I thought that he thought that we were idiots, and that he had to keep reminding us that the other extensions of this army, they had shield and helmet. What did I think? What did these people think? That some of the army didn't have shield and helmet? Like 5,000 men had helmets, 5,000 men didn't have helmets? No. So this is the prince. His name's Gog. He's the prince of Meshech, Rosh, and Tubal. And he's of the land of Magog. And the Most High said he's going to put hooks in his jaws and lead him out with all his army, with horses and horsemen, clad perfectly, a great assembly with armor, shields, and all of them handling swords. And even these guys, Persia, Cush, and Put, are with them, all of them with shield and helmet. So what we know, and you'll see this, I'm just going to go ahead and spit it out for some of you who don't know, and the rest of you, I'm not going to apologize, but this is what we have to do. We got to break it down like this, so everyone has an opportunity to hear the truth. Horses and horsemen. It's just like the 4 horses of the apocalypse, the white horse and the red horse. Those weren't literally horses, right? I mean, you understand that those are vehicles on which something is rode in on. Like the white horse, it is the medical industry. And who would be the horsemen of that? It would be doctors, nurses, pharmaceutical guys, those type of people. And we know the sword is the word of the Most High. So whoever this prince is, he's associated, his army consists of people handling swords, and they have shields, they have armor, and they're an assembly, and they have shields, and there's horsemen riding on horses. So if we're talking about someone who's handling the word of the Most High, what would the horse be? It would be institutions, Bible colleges, publications, channels, authors, churches, pastors, and the horsemen would be the pastors and the preachers, all those type of people, because they're handling swords. And they're handling shield with helmet. So let's go look real quick at Ephesians 6, and let's see what the word says. And there's other places that you can find where if you read through the Bible, you won't even have to see Ephesians 6, and you'll understand what those things mean. You'll understand that it's not literal. This is how the Most High speaks. This is what it takes. You got to give it all you got in order to understand the truth. And this is huge, what I'm trying to convey here to you guys. So he says, stand then, having girded, it says right up there, put on the whole armor of the Most High, having girded your waist with truth, and having put on the breastplate of righteousness, having fitted your feet with the preparation of the good news of peace, and above all, having taken up the shield of belief, and with which you shall have power to quench all the burning arrows of the wicked one. Take also the helmet of deliverance. So the shield is the belief, the helmet is the deliverance, and the sword of the Spirit, which is the word of the Most High. There you go. So the sword is the word. The shield is the belief, the faith. And the helmet is the deliverance, your deliverance. So, verse 6 says, Gomer and all its bands, the house of Togarmah from the far north, and all its bands, many peoples with you. Be ready, prepare yourself, you and all your assemblies that are assembled unto you, and you shall be a guard for them. So the prince, the Gog of the land of Magog shall be a guard for them. After many days you shall be called up in the latter years. See, this is for the latter years. In the latter years you shall come into the land of those brought back from the sword and gathered from many people on the mountains of Yasharal. So they'll be brought back from the sword, gathered from many people on the mountains of Yasharal, which had been a continual waste. But they were brought out of the peoples, and all of them shall dwell safely. Shall dwell safely. That's the promise, that you shall dwell safely. Are those people dwelling safely over there? And you shall go up, coming like a storm, covering the land like a cloud, you and all your bands and many peoples with you. Thus said the Master Yahuwah, and it shall be in that day that words arise in your heart, and you shall devise an evil plan. I wonder what those words could be. I wonder if one of the words is anti. Could be. And you shall say, let me go up against the land of unwalled villages. Let me go to those at rest who dwell safely, all of them dwelling without walls and having neither bars nor gates. Where is he going to bring him to? Against, he's going to have him come in the latter years, so shall come into the land of those brought back from the sword, and gathered from many people on the mountains of Yasharal, which had been a continual waste. So it's the people that's brought back to, if you want to call it the Holy Land, that'd be my guess. I wouldn't. If I were you, I would call it the set apart land, the dwelling place, our resting place. So he said, in the latter years, he's going to bring him up against his people that shall dwell safely. And he said that he would come up against them, and they're a land of unwalled villages who dwell safely, who dwelling without walls and having neither bars nor gates. Does that sound like that place over there? It doesn't, does it? That's because it's not. To take plunder and to take booty, to stretch out your hand against the waste places that are again inhabited. And again, a people gathered from the peoples, acquiring livestock and goods, who dwell in the middle of the land. In the middle of the land. Not on the coast, in the middle of the land. Sheba and Dedan and the merchants of Tarshish and all their young lions shall say to you. Are the young lions talking? These guys have talking young lions. Have you come to take plunder? Have you gathered your army to take booty, to bear away silver and gold, to take away livestock and goods, to take great plunder? Therefore, son of man, prophesy, and you shall say to Gog, thus said the Master Yahuwah, in that day when my people Yasharal dwell safely, would you not know? Would you not know? And you shall come from your place out of the far north, you and many peoples with you, all of them riding on horses, a great assembly and a mighty army. And you shall come up against my people Yasharal like a cloud to cover the land. In the latter days it shall be. And I shall bring you against my land in order that the nations know me when I am set apart in you, O Gog, before their eyes. Thus said the Master Yahuwah, are you the one I spoke of in former days by my servants, the prophets of Yasharal, who prophesied for years in those days to bring you against them? And it shall be on that day, on the day when God comes against the land of Yasharal, declares the Master Yahuwah, that my wrath shall come up in my face. For in my jealousy and in the fire of my wrath I have spoken. On that day there shall be a great shaking in the land of Yasharal, so that the fish of the sea, and the birds of the heavens, and the beasts of the field, and all creeping creatures that creep on the earth, and all men who are on the face of the earth shall shake at my presence. And the mountains shall be thrown down, and the steep places shall fall, and every wall fall to the ground. And I shall call for a sword against Gog on all my mountains, declares the Master Yahuwah, the sword of each one being against his brother. Okay, if we're still talking fairy tale, so is this a magical sword that they're going to find and it goes against everyone's brother? Like if I picked it up and my brother was standing near, I would just have to cut him, stab him with the sword? Is that what that's saying? No, my friends. This is all figures of speech, just like the Most High. He's always done. The Messiah, they speak in parables. That's what they do. This is all figures of speech. This isn't literal. And I shall judge him with pestilence and blood and rain, down flooding rain, and hailstones, fire and sulfur on him and on his bands and on the many peoples who are with him. And I shall exalt myself and set myself apart, and I shall be known in the eyes of many nations, and they shall know that I am Yahuwah. Now, back right up here, he says, are you the one? Are you the one I spoke of in former days by my servants, the prophets of Yasharal? Is he really asking that question? Does he really not know if he's the one, or does he know? Is it rhetorical? Yes. He's asking that question so we as the readers, the ones who need to understand this word, he's asking that question, so we'll go see who this prince is that the prophet spoke about. Let's go see if we can find it. The prince. Right here in Daniel 8. He had a vision in Daniel 8. Daniel had a vision of the male goat and the ram and the little horn, the two horns, one bigger than the other. He says that horn, so if this is literal, an actual horn is going to cause mass destruction and death. No, this figures of speech. Right here, verse 9 says, and from one of them came a little horn, which became exceedingly great toward the south, toward the east, and toward the splendid land. The splendid land. That's them mountains of Yasharal. And it became great up to the host of heavens, and it caused some of the host and some of the stars to fall to the earth and trampled them down. It even exalted itself as high as the prince of the host. And it took that which is continual away from him and threw down the foundation of his set apart place. And because of transgression, an army was given over to the horn to oppose that which is continual, and it threw the truth down to the ground, and it acted and prospered. Now, if we're in the latter days, and this is talking about a prince, and it is, that's why it says that he even exalted itself as high as the prince of the host. He considered himself to be a prince, and he threw that which was continual away. He threw down the foundation of the set apart place, and he threw the truth down to the ground. That's how he threw the foundation of the set apart place down. You can't throw the foundation of the set apart place down. It's the earth. It's the ground, rocks, mountains. And if he took that which is continual away, that which is continual is our inheritance. We were given our land. Our fathers were given the land, promised the land. We came there. We had a city there. That was our dwelling place, our place of rest. We celebrated the feast days there at their appointed times. That was our inheritance, our allotted land. Everything was intact, that which was continual. So if he threw it all that, if he opposed all that and opposed the prince of the whole, who's the prince? That's the Messiah. So it's someone who considered himself to be the Messiah, and then somehow he threw that which was continual down in the foundation of the set apart place, and he opposed that which was continual, and he threw the truth down to the ground. Now, how could he throw the truth of the set apart place down to the ground? Have you ever asked yourself what people considered to be the Holy Land before 1948? Like back in the 1700s, what did they consider the Holy Land to be? Has it always been Palestine? Because the truth's out there, my friends, and it don't take long, like I've been saying, for you to find it. Why do you think it is that the people that came over on the Mayflower was named pilgrims? Pilgrims visit the Holy Land to touch and see physical manifestations of their faith, to confirm their beliefs in the holy context with collective excitation. Just like Islamic people do when they go to Mecca, right? They call that a pilgrimage. So why were the people that came from over east, across the pond, on the Mayflower, why were they called pilgrims? Why did Columbus have 5 Hebrew translators? Why did he make his men swear an oath to say that that Cuba was actually the coast of China? Why would he need to do that? Why couldn't he just go back and say, this is Cuba? How did that prince throw, that which is continual? How did he oppose that? And if he did it all by throwing down the truth, my friends. If Gog, and it is, the word, don't just take my word for it. Go put it up to the test. Put everything I say, test everything I say. Test everything. Put it up against the word and see if the word tells you that what I'm saying is true. And if it's not, if something I've said isn't true, come correct me, and because I want to know. Don't hesitate. But you'll see that there's no Gog and Magog, there's Gog. And it said he come from the lands of the north. You'll see that a lot of times when it talks about Babylon, it says that's the land of the north, the uttermost place of the north, whatever. You'll see that swords is the word, and that horses are churches, institutions where the word is handled. You'll see that the shield, it's the belief, and the helmet is a deliverance. So if there's a prince in the latter days that comes up against the set apart people in the middle of the land, not on the coast, in the middle of the land, on the mountains of Yasharal, and they had been brought back from the sword, meaning they no longer are victims to the word. Because remember, the word judges everyone. Every knee shall bow to the word, to the Messiah, the truth, the way, and the life. If you fell victim to the sword, that means that you either failed, you failed to go look at the truth, look at the word, and find the truth for yourself, and you believed some man's interpretation of the word. So if we've been brought back from the sword, that means we understand that we have to go to the word for ourselves, and that it is the only source of truth, that we can't take it from man, that chances are it's their opinion that they're sharing with people. So if that's the case, if Gog is someone who assemblies armies of people, are assembled unto him, and they are handling the word, they say they got faith, they say they got deliverance, they're in churches, congregations, assemblies, and it's at the end time, and it's someone who claims to be the prince of the host. Who would that be? I only know one. I only know one, my friends. And he is the epitome of man's opinion, of twisted version of the word, a watered down, diluted version of the word. And most importantly, he is the result of a big idea to use the word against you, lie to you in order to destroy you. Is that place over there unwalled with no bars? Are they dwelling in safety right now? Are they in the middle of the land? We know the J didn't, it wasn't created. No one used the J until the 16th century. So was it named Jerusalem? Could his name have been Jesus? No. If we put him up to the word, we test what we believe about the Messiah, is it going to stand up? Is it going to hold up to what the Word says? And if your opinion is different than what I'm getting at here, can we hold your opinion up to the Word? Everything about that place, it's false. The Mount Nebo over there, it's 2,400 feet. It's a knoll. Look it up. The Mount Nebo in Utah, it's 12,000 feet. It says that the Word says that the Most High took Moses up there, and he could see all the land for miles around. You wouldn't have seen much on the Mount Nebo over there. It's a coastland. It's not a place in the middle. There is no mountains right there. There's mountains, but they're way off. These people, the people that are there, they're not brought back from the sword. They're slicing and dicing with the sword to kill and destroy, and they're destroying themselves. They practice the Kabbalah. They don't even believe in the Messiah. They're spitting on Christians right now. They don't believe, the majority of them don't believe. Their institutions, their horses, they don't believe the Messiah even came. They're waiting for him. They think that the third temple is going to be built, and that's going to bring in the Messiah. They don't even believe it. And they practice the Kabbalah, which teaches the doctrine of the tree of the knowledge of good and evil. Let's put that up to the truth. Would you like to? Anytime. Come and I'd be glad to show you. I've got videos way back. You can go way back and watch videos where I've broke it down several times. But I'd do it again. All you got to do is ask. If that's what they're doing, there's nothing about that place that's the truth. It's all fantasy. It's all fairy tales, fantasy, lies, in order designed to destroy man. So, Gog is Jesus. And where does the story of Zeus come from? In Tammuz and Nimrod, you already know. It comes from Babylon. That's why it says he comes from the north, the land of the north. And if you go look at Rosh and Meshach and them's like sons of Noah and them when they got off the boat. But it's not literal. It's talking about strike the bow out of your left hand and make the arrows fall out of your right hand. You know what we didn't see in the armor of the Most High? It said put on the full armor. It didn't say that we were to put a bow and arrow in our hands. It said the shield to quench the fiery arrows from the enemy. The enemy's the one with the bow and the arrows, right? And it says, on the mountains of Yasharal you shall fall, you and all your bands and the peoples who are with you, to the birds of prey of every sort and to the beasts of the field I shall give you for food. On the face of the field you shall fall, for I have spoken, declares the Master Yahuwah. I shall send fire upon Magog and on those who live undisturbed in the coastlands. In the coastlands. That place is a coastland. It's not in the middle of nothing. Up here, let me see. I think it might be back up here. Might have missed it. No. Right down here, it says, right here, verse 11 says, and it shall be on that day that I give Gog a place for a burial site there in Yasharal, the valley of those passing by east of the sea, and stopping those passing by. Because they shall bury Gog and all his crowd. So it shall be on that day that I give Gog a place for a burial site there in Yasharal, the valley of those passing by east of the sea. What's east of the sea? If and they're passing by. If the Mediterranean is the sea, yeah, the coastline, it's the east of the sea. It's east of the Atlantic. All the proof. It's anywhere you want to look. Like I said, just pick a spot, and you'll see the truth of that place is in there. Right here, just another example of how this is not literal. It says, "And those who inhabit the cities of Yasharal shall go out and set on fire and burn the weapons, both the shields and armor, the bows and arrows, the clubs and spears, and they shall make fires with them for 7 years." With metal objects, they're going to make fires with them for 7 years. Does that sound like that makes sense to you? Or does this make sense? That all these churches, institutions that have used the sword against man, that when it's all over and there's no one left except for those who get on their face, they give all praise, all honor, all glory, all esteem to Abba Yahuwah, the Most High, our wonderful Creator. We understand who the man of lawlessness is. All these weapons that have been aimed at us to destroy us, we burn them, not literally, but we make sure that they disappear from the face of the earth and they never are wielded again. Does that make sense? Yes, that's what that means. They're not really going to burn metal shields and stuff in the field. No. So, if all these people, and I'm sure you see it, there's so many people, there's pastors, that are asking for ISIS Rael to go in there and just level a whole city. They don't care. And yes, I understand. I would be upset too if what they say happened. But you got to look at it this way. What's the truth? Yes, I understand. I understand that if you're living somewhere in your house and someone comes over and kills a bunch of your family, I would probably, I don't think I could hold myself back from acting out in revenge. I would probably do the same thing. But what if someone came over and stole your house, kicked you out of your house, and then made you go live in the doghouse with a chain around your neck, and they're eating your food, they're sleeping in your bed with your wife or your husband, they've taken everything you've worked for, they're telling everybody that that's their house, they're having parties, they're bringing guests over, and they're saying, they're taking them on a tour of your house, and they're saying, "Oh, don't you like my new house?" Are you just going to sit there and just take it? You're not going to, are you? You'd probably do something to try to get your house back, right? I mean, what kind of a man would you be if you didn't? So we got to look at this from a truth only perspective. This is how everyone is going to be suckered in, and they'll be the moth to the flame. And if you look at everyone's motivation for not picking up the truth, to see what the truth is, they have connection, they have ties, they've got financial dogs in this race. They don't want to look stupid. They don't want to be wrong. They've given so much, they've pledged so much of their allegiance to that place, to the false Messiah, the anti-Messiah, that even if they see the truth in it now, they can't go, they're not willing to go back because they're too puffed up to have to come out and admit, because that's what they'd have to do, right? If they would say, if they see the truth in it and they say, and they know that it's false, could they just keep going? I mean, they would have to come out and say, man, I was wrong. That's not, he's not, this ain't what the Bible says about the Messiah. That wasn't his name. The J didn't even come out until the 1600s. That's not the place. That's not how the Bible describes that place. It's completely different. Why did all this stuff happen? Why did Columbus come over here? And then they start looking and they see the truth. They would have to come out and say, I have been wrong this whole time. So that's why they don't do it. Their pride is what prevents them from being humble, right? I mean, it's up and down, light and dark, good and evil. So they'll push forward. It's like, you ever caught someone in a lie, and instead of just admitting that they were lying and they were wrong, they go on ahead, full steam ahead, and push even harder to try to get you to just to buy it. They're reaching in all directions, trying to. They're like a cat in a litter box, just reaching for whatever they can grab to cover up their, what, right? That's how these people are, and money drives them, the fortune and the fame, whether it's big time or not. They're not going to admit that they were wrong and come to the side of truth, because it's going to damage their status, the status quo, the Joneses. So I'm going to play this video for you, and you're going to see just why it is that they're named the Loki Project. It's going to confirm everything we've been saying, that the Most High's been showing us about the fantasy land, about what I Pet Goat 2 really means, and how it is an illustration of what we have to do, our walk, that we have to follow the Lamb, and that we have to look, and we have to understand that the truth. There's a reason it says they follow the Lamb wherever he goes. It could have said they follow the truth, because his name is the Word, the Truth, the Way, the Life. But it said the Lamb, right? So follow the Lamb. They sing the song of the Lamb, and we know that's the truth, that's the way, that's the Word, that's the life. But the Lamb, what happened? It was, they took for Passover, they took a lamb without blemish, a young lamb without blemish. So if he's the Word, we have to eat all of the Word, the pure Word that's unblemished. We have to be suited and booted, bags packed, car gassed up, eat all the lamb, put the blood on the doorpost, give it everything you got. Get in the car when you're told to, and go to your room, go home, to where where he can pass over you and protect you, just like the Word has told us so many times. It's told us that we wouldn't know, that it would come to us, the truth of it would come to us in the latter days, that we would see Jerusalem from afar off, that it hasn't been taken down, its foundation's still there. That which was continual was taken away, because they've caused all them liars, the Rothschilds, through the Balfour Declaration, all kinds of Babylonians. They've convinced the world that the set apart place is somewhere else, and they've convinced most of the world to even to forget about their inheritance, their covenant altogether, which makes what kind of person out of them? What kind of person are we if we don't even consider what the Most High has given us, our inherited land? We're like, man, I'd rather stay here and I just got a promotion last week, and I'm assistant manager now. You know, and I'm going to finance a car, and payment's only going to be $1,050 a month, and 12.9% interest. That's our inheritance. See, that's that trap. That's why they're gonna gnaw and gnash their teeth, because they're gonna realize that they traded their inheritance not just for a bowl of oatmeal, but they have made absolute dummies out of themselves. And it was all to keep up with the Joneses, and the Joneses didn't care nothing about none of us. The only one who did care about us, who's give us everything, we've blowed him off, stood him up, and for nothing. Watch this video, you tell me, and we'll talk about it when it's over. Now, the audio ain't going to be that great, but look at the name of the song. And like I said, it's a little creepy, but pay attention, watch it. I wouldn't subject you to it if it wasn't vital. Watch what it says, watch what it shows.
Turn your night into a nightmare. I'll keep track of all your troubles. I feel the distance between us, 'cause I'm not Eve, I'm Lilith. I feel the distance between us, 'cause I'm not Eve, I'm Lilith. You'll never find peace. Oh no, you'll never find peace. Shadow inside, I blow on your shadow inside, I blow. I'll never be with you like the others. I won't stop staring at you. I'd hide in your garden all night. I'd erase your voice on the tape. I'd use the sweetest way. You'll never find peace. You'll never find peace.
idea why the clown was the last guy to get lifted up into the air like that? Because just the place where all the lies have came from, it's the same place that made the lie, the fantasy, that you'll get caught up into the air in the twinkling of an eye. The reason the last guy, it was a clown, because that's what it's made of, people. It's made fools out of all of us. The only way to get out is you have to come out. You have to admit you're wrong, that you've been wrong, and you have to break free from that deception and understand that you're just a man or a woman. It's possible. Can you honestly say that you've never been lied to, that you've never been convinced of a lie before? We all have. We've all been suckered. And we've been suckered by the father of lies. And it's made fools, it's made clowns out of us. But the only way to get out now is to understand who the enemy is, what his weapons are, and what our weapon is, and act accordingly. She wasn't Eve, guys. She was Lilith. Now do you see why the Tanuki Project, the shapeshifter? Now do you see why the scepter looks like Loki's scepter? And if you go look in the, I'm not going to show you right now, but if you look at the Loki TV show, if you go to the Wikipedia for that, you'll see one of the episodes is called, I think it's called The Year of the Nexus, and it's about realities crossing. Yeah, it is. Yeah. The truth's out there, Mishpaka. All you gotta do is love it, desire it, find it, eat all the lamb, strap up, suited and booted, gas the car. You know, now that I've been brought back from the sword, now what I have to do now is I have to try and get this message out there. If you've got the message, do the same thing. Get it out there. Go tell someone, like they do in the churches, in those horses. Turn to your right and tell your neighbor that you've been lied to. Turn to your left, tell your neighbor. We've all been lied to, and we've all been made into clowns. But it's time to get up off the ground, but get face down. Give all honor, all praise, all glory, all esteem to Abba Yahuwah, the Most High, our wonderful Creator. Why you can. He's our righteousness. Follow the Lamb wherever He leads you. The truth, the word, the way, the life.